if you don't know that that framework is only in your short-term memory, I mean, that is your life, that framework is your life, but a lot of times when you don't know a lot about long-term and short-term information and memory and variables and how you create your own this framework during your day, when things happen in life, it can be devastating. Sometimes that framework can break, meaning your reputation can change. People who you trusted in, all of a sudden you can't trust them. Things that you expected to happen don't happen. And then you start to think why, and then you start to look at how things are. And then I'm just saying, for example, people have different values, meaning they're able to do different things based on their values. A lot of times, like in relationships, like for example, if you get betrayed and over time you realize, hey, that person actually has a different value system from me. So they actually function in a different framework, which is why their conscience doesn't get triggered, because in their framework, that's how they function. That's how that person would function in a different moral framework from you. And in the same way, a lot of times, like your position in society, your place, your reputation is in one or in a certain number of frameworks. And yeah, sometimes that framework breaks. And if you don't know other frameworks exist, or if you feel stuck in that one framework, sometimes you want to unalive yourself, which is the reason why a lot of people, I think, in my opinion, end up making those kinds of decisions. Because in your RAM, you only have that framework, meaning other knowledge that some people say, hey, why would someone do this if so and so? But remember, when you're in a framework, your RAM is only holding a certain amount of variables, and you feel those variables, you function in those variables, and your life is in those variables. And sometimes if that framework breaks, it might be better for you to move to another framework. But if you don't know other frameworks exist, then you think your life is over and you don't have any other options, and you can't feel anything, you can't see anything, and you just want it to end and you don't know what to do. That's because a lot of times you don't know there's other frameworks, and you also don't know that your RAM can actually empty out, and then you can pull other information from your hard drive to create other frameworks that you can function in society. And that's how society is, which is why we relate to certain people in certain frameworks, and sometimes there might be somebody else who lives a completely different life with different variables and things like that there. Essentially, that's what I'm saying. You create this framework or matrix in that creates this worldview, and it is limited because there's only so much space in your short-term memory. But all the other information is in your hard drive, at least the information that you collected.